I'm Sean Arnold from Brave in the Attempt, sharing a previously recorded webinar. We're going to show how to do screen recording, including how to do annotation, whiteboarding, editing, and where you should store them. So let's get rolling. This session is on screen recording, on working asynchronously with your students. Just a big word that means, hey, I'm not hovering over their shoulders and they're able to work more independently, which, to agree is maybe what we should have been doing to a certain portion all along. A couple things up front. All right, so let's move ahead. This is me. My name is Sean Arnold. I am a special educator and STEM coach in District 75. I've been there for about 15 years. The most important thing on this page is this bottom bit.ly link, which is that agenda link that I shared with you earlier. The whole rest of this stuff on this page is just to say that I try a lot of different things, not just with technology, but I love how that gives access in ways for my students with disabilities that wouldn't have it otherwise. But just in the method to experiment and grow as human beings and as educators, which is what we want for our students too, right? Growth comes through slight discomfort as we learn. And on that note, here's my stress check. So those of you who are in the pair deck, let me know how today is. It's a Monday, generally on Midland to better, a couple. No, some people are straight up 10s. I'm sorry, straight up 0-1, no stress. Nobody at 10, pretty good. All right, I'll try to take it careful and easy, and I'll try to meet your needs as we go along. My next question for you is, how has most of your instruction happened so far? Is it because everybody's on the Zoom and the Google Meets and the Teams? Are you trying to do tons of synchronous live learning? Or is it mostly been asynchronous stuff you send home? Students even with physical manipulatives at home and maybe sending photos or videos about them themselves. Sort of what I expected. Broad range. Those of you who are living over here, interesting for the most part. Those of you who are living heavy over here, I wonder how much maybe you're also the ones that had that stress point too off the chart. And I don't know if that's because you feel obligated to by an administrator or otherwise, or if that's because you feel it best practice in your situation. It's what you're most accustomed to. Either or, I'm going to try to give you some options. You know your students better than I. You decide what works best for you. And with that, we shall go. All right. So just a little quick overview before I dig into the click this button, do this thing kind of stuff. Synchronous versus asynchronous. What is it? There's different ways for each. Asynchronous can be all sorts of things. Discussions can still happen in asynchronous learning. Conversations, not necessarily live. Yes, of course, there's basic things like text messaging, phone calls, email that happens too. Phone calls, though, live in our synchronous learning world. And if that's the technology you and your students have, great. Use it and make the most of it, and use it to connect with your students socially and emotionally and check in on how they're doing. Synchronous stuff, that's the live things. That's what we're doing right now, this live meeting. But I will say, as a method, something that I'll link you all to later, we are in District 75 also making a method. So the first thing everybody did when we're like, oh, we have to move to remote learning is like, okay, here's a bunch of lists of resources and things you can do. And I think we're pretty much all done with lists at this point, right? They're just confusing and too many things. And the people who are already adept could take a handful of things on that list and parse what worked for them, what didn't. Great. I think we're all done with lists of things at this point. These live sessions have been helpful, I hope, for people, or at least such is the feedback that I've gotten, at walking people through things nicely. But some people need even more than that. It's like they need to cut down. And I'm going to go over a lot of things in this sort of hour that we have. But they want one skill broken down into like 2-3 minute chunks that they can rewatch over and over again and be reminded of it. And so we've actually been starting to make a bunch of our own asynchronous videos for people to do things. And it's not just technology specific stuff either. Some of it is wholly instructional of how you can engage students remotely at home with physical interactives, how you can train parents to start working with some of that stuff with their students with autism at home. And I'll share with you some of those ones we've already put up there, but more and more will be coming, all right? So just this whole asynchronous piece, variety is important. It shouldn't be the same method overall, like I said, there's tons of different ways. I really like those pre-recorded video ones. If you're familiar with the concept of a flipped classroom, this isn't something that you just have to be doing in remote learning. Think like Khan Academy videos and stuff. A flipped classroom is we send kids home to learn the stuff. And that way we in the classroom or in those Q&A live synchronous sessions that you might have are just there to answer questions and help if they struggled or couldn't figure it out through those tutorial videos, right? But online discussion boards that we might be used to, we might think of that as live conversation, but it's generally not. We might chime in during our office hours, as it were. And the goal is just to create a sort of collaborative back and forth community that we have in these situations. All right. One more quick question, just so I know exactly where to take this with you guys. This isn't your student devices. This is you. What devices are you using at home? It could be what you're using now, or what are you mostly using to create your interactions and stuff with your students? It's just going to let me know how much time I should spend on different kinds of things. All right. If you're using more than one, feel free to use more than one color. Give me a heads up. I'm going to give you guys another second on that. But it's important because while there are certain platforms that allow use across a broad range of these, that I'm going to show you a lot of stuff that'll work whether you're on a Chromebook, a MacBook, Windows computer, etc. Some of the stuff, especially if you're on iOS or on an Android phone, it's going to require a little bit different situation on your part. All right. So here's what I'm seeing. A lot of Mac people, fewer Chromebooks, probably more for the students, but fewer for the teachers. Some Windows land. There's a little iOS. So I'm going to make sure I do stop and show how to do iOS recording if that's where you're working. And it's just a different process, and I'll walk you through that. All right. So I'm linking you to a website as I show you this. These are just some hubs for where you can keep your asynchronous learning. Obviously, Google Classroom, Microsoft Teams. Flipgrid is a great place for video holding all your, and whether you use Flipgrid to record it, and I'll walk you how to do that as well. You can record it in other apps like Screencastify, QuickTime, etc. That's just a good place to hold them all. Edpuzzle separately, and I'm not going to walk you guys through how Edpuzzle works. If you want to learn more about that, we had some sessions on digital assessment and ones specifically only on Edpuzzle that you can go through and watch some of the recordings. It is just a place where those videos, either ones from the web that already exist or ones you've created and uploaded, can be put there, and then you can build in assessment pieces into it, okay? Just a quick overview of how Edpuzzle goes. Edpuzzle, like I said, you post the video, you either get a video from online, or then you can embed an assessment and track your students' usage. All right. Here's some places, though, where you can record whole-on presentations. If you're not familiar, PowerPoint or Apple's Keynote, and I'm not going to walk us through these either. Those I think you're fairly familiar with. You create your presentations the same as you've always been in those platforms if you do. They can just be exported as a movie file themselves. So there is your lesson, wholly created in whatever form you wanted in PowerPoint Keynote, and then it's an exported video. Great. Then we got Flipgrid. I'll walk you through that alone, and I'm going to also walk you through G Suite's Hangout Meets that we're in. Because while you might think of Hangouts Meet as a place for live sessions and synchronous sessions, it can be used asynchronously too. So I'm actually going to go ahead and open up on this screen an incognito window so I can get into Meet in a different account. And let me sign in. And let's go ahead and use my DOE one, because then you'll know it works in the same way on yours. And okay, so here I am. I can join or start a meeting. I highly recommend doing it with a nickname and come up with something creative, because otherwise somebody else might accidentally join your meeting, somebody else from the DOE. And it doesn't mean that they're trying to get in. It's if you just call it morning meeting, how many people are doing morning meeting, right? So when I go ahead and join a session, like you are in now, I've got all these options here, including present, and I can share my screen. So any work you're doing that you want to demonstrate for students can be demonstrated there. Yes, I can record my face on the side, but what happens as you're hitting record on these, and here's where you find the record button, I can record that meeting, and I'm recording a meeting inside of a meeting. Isn't this meta? I can go ahead and present, and I'm just going to present a window for now somewhere else, so this can be seen. And you'll note, once this is recorded, it'll actually record this video really nicely as what my screen is sharing here. Now, it's not going to look like this that says stop presenting. It'll actually look like the this is what will show up in my recording. And what else will show up is my face down in a tiny space over in the bottom right-hand corner. So I'll get both of those things in this recording. When I'm done, I can hang it up. I can stop my recording. And conveniently, those recordings just end up in your Google Drive. So while I'm working here, if I wanted to demonstrate things to students, I could hop into Smart Learning Suite Online, or I can hop into Google's Jamboard and draw and demo. I'm not going to walk us through those. I'll show you another one similarly in a minute, but that's just an easy way that you, in a tool that you're already using, can create screen recordings and make it accessible and editable for you later on. Let's go to something else. Let's go to Flipgrid right now. Now, Flipgrid's awesome in that it offers us several options. So you'll see when I start sharing some other screen recorders, some features that already exist in Flipgrid will maybe not even be in some of those other ones. So you might choose wholly to go to this hub, which is why I wanted to share it early on. Also, Flipgrid's always entirely free. It synchronizes with everything. You might have already discovered it. We've done several trainings just on Flipgrid. I'm not going to go through the basics of Flipgrid. I'm just going to show you how it works as a screen recording software. So I'm going to go to a session I'd set up for screen recordings. And I can either, as a teacher, set this up as a topic or have students record these responses or put all of mine on a similar page for the student. And this is what it's going to look like. Hit record inside my Flipgrid. Now, obviously, you guys know Flipgrid can record video. And so if I want to give a little welcome to students. Hi, guys. I just want you to see the work that we're about to be doing in Newsela and understand how I want you to read and reflect on the passage. Okay. So now I'm going to demo for them exactly my expectation as I bring this Newsela screen over here. And there's another button here on, and I'm going to get rid of that one for now, actually, because I want to do that after the fact, because I want to go to this video options. And you'll see here, I can upload clips I've created somewhere else, or I can go to screen recording beta. Now that's where I can suddenly start recording my screen directly in Flipgrid. And these videos can be up to 10 minutes long. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share this. Actually, I'm just going to share an application window. And please remember to mute your microphone. All right, I'll do it. All right, sorry, I was just muting. So here I am. I am already recording my screen. This is the screen I'm working on. It's just recording that screen. I'm moving around. I can go ahead as I'm working, show students how I want them to highlight, show them how I want them to annotate and add messages for themselves, demonstrate whatever sort of learning objective I want in that Newsela. All right, let's go ahead and stop that recording. And you'll see there it comes up. I can go ahead and add some more. It's actually recorded my voice too while I was talking. Now I can even add more. So if after that, I want to go to the whiteboard, I can click this whiteboard, set that in the background, and give students a little bit of heads up on where they need to go or what other references I want to give them. So I want to mention vocabulary like, oops, let's go back to this. Afford. And we talk, oh, let me hit record while I'm doing it. Otherwise, you're just going to get the end of it. Hey, make sure you guys check your vocabulary words like afford. What do we know about that word? Where have we heard it before? Maybe at the store with our parents, maybe at the bank. Tell me about where you've heard that word before. When we're done, we can just go to next. We can edit it however we want. Mix those clips up. And this is just a little picture we can add at the end. I can show my face. I'm just going to do it really quickly. Or we could do that whiteboard again if I wanted it. But maybe I'm going to be a little camera shy. And I decide I don't want to show my face. I can put other images up there like this. And submit. So that's a simple way you can use Flipgrid built into the platform to record your screen, to record whiteboard work that you're doing live, as well as include live videos. And I will say separately that Flipgrid acts as a powerful hub, and as a powerful hub for, and let me take you to this. This takes you to the blog at flipgrid.com. If you guys are inside that Pear Deck, that shows you some of their April updates that include things like intro to screen recording, intro to the new 10 minutes that exist, as well as the fact that Flipgrid, even if you record in these other places, you might want to house all your videos here in Flipgrid as an easily accessible place for your students, but not so open and accessible as, say, a YouTube where anybody is going to see these, all right? So there's Flipgrid, a basic kind of method that gives you so many options. I'm going to jump now, though, to some annotation software. There's tons of these out there. You saw what I used inside of Flipgrid. We've done sessions on Smart Learning Suite, and in some of the Google sessions, I've showed Jamboard. But now I'm going to show you Explain Everything. You might have heard of Explain Everything before. It is the explanation site. But normally, I wouldn't be too eager to show it, simply because it often requires a pay scale. It's one of those sites that the basics of it are free, but the basics of it are very slim, except that right now, and I've linked this in the agenda, how you can access the free version that they're giving away for the rest of the year. So here's a little Venn diagram I put together, and I am actually going to shrink this screen and zoom in just so it's easier to see. All right. And as you'll note, there are all these tools on the side. I can add new media, pictures, clip art, audio I've recorded, screenshots. This little finger is where I can go and move around and edit stuff and adjust it like this. One thing that's not intuitive is if I want to resize things, you actually have to do like pinching and things, which might not make a lot of sense on a computer. It's a lot easier on an iPad. I think you guys get how all the annotation stuff works. Pens, pencils, highlighters, erasers, fill buckets. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. Obviously, I've created these pretty shapes. I can do lots of text. Now, here's where it gets more interesting. This is the laser pointer, which doesn't matter now because I'm not recording yet. But it does let me indicate things for students. What's great about this, though, is maybe I don't want to show my face, but I want to annotate and make an idea clear for people. I'm going to unmute my microphone on that. I'm going to hit the record button and say, so you guys will notice that there are 3 kinds of learning and education methods that I've linked here. Yes, we're used to working in the classroom, but we can work synchronously or asynchronously from home as well. Now, synchronously, we're using a lot of these video platforms like Meet, but asynchronously can mean a whole bunch of things. We can still read books and use photos that we could have used in the classroom. We can still go through whole novels together. And actually, unlike the classroom, I can probably give students enough time to read through several chapters before we work through it together. We can even watch related TV shows of things that might be on PBS and easily accessible for the students. But in all of these spaces, we can still use technology. So you'll note here in the center, this technology piece is key across all because it's going to provide accessibility throughout. I hit stop. I see my video that I've recorded there, a session that I can share out with people. Now, this invite button at the top, that's not for inviting students. That's for inviting collaboration. If you want to send it out to students, there's this web video link, and it basically turns this into a video. And so when you go into a brand new, that's that same copy and paste I used on the other thing. Copy that link again. There we go. And what students will see is just the video of the session. Oh, well, it takes a little bit. So it's not there yet, but after about 20-ish minutes, it should be there. And students would be able to watch that video presentation of one that I've created. Normally it goes a lot quicker, but the networks being what they are, we shall see. Here's an interesting point is that throughout it, and I'm gonna go back down here, as I'm recording, I could go ahead and record again. One thing you might wanna note is this zoom button at the bottom left. So I've got everything on the screen at once, but maybe for my students, seeing all of it at once is just too much. So I can go ahead and zoom in to certain areas and move around if that's the areas I want to focus on for my students, all right? So you might even decide to do that while you're recording just to make it clearer for your students as you're creating that visualization, okay? But that's enough of explaining everything. Again, it can be just a visual. You don't have to record the audio of you explaining it over, but I like the fact that it offers both of those. And now it is offering all of the even super upgraded features for free for teachers right now. All right. And I'll again post all the links to that agenda and other stuff. If you didn't get it in the beginning, I'll post it all again at the end. All right. So that's some annotation software. I just demoed that. Right now I'm linking you to Explain Everything in Stockcom's education space, which shows you some of the ways they encourage its use within the classroom. They do have a whole bunch of features available specifically guided towards teachers, including some templates made for you. All right, let's go on to basic screen recording software. I am going to walk you guys through in a little bit what that'll look like on an iOS device because a few of you said that. I'm not going to push up my iPad stuff on the screen because I think just showing you a visualization will make enough sense for that. But these two over here, QuickTime is Apple computers built-in screen recording software. You might know it is the thing that plays all videos that you download, but it can do a lot more than that too. In fact, I can use QuickTime on my computer to simultaneously record me doing something on my Mac computer while I'm working on my iPad and show both screens simultaneously while I also show my face and record audio. So I can have those what is essentially 4 streams going simultaneously across my screen and having it recorded. That's a little complicated, but if you're doing sessions that require you showing something on your computer and your iPad at the same time, it might be worthwhile for you. But Windows 10 actually has its own built-in screen recording software too. It's built into the game tab. You might not have seen it before, but I linked to how to get there in the agenda. I will walk us through quickly on QuickTime simply because I'm on a Mac computer and the other ones work similarly. On Chromebooks, though, there isn't a built-in one. I will show you some of these other options that will work for that, all right? Here, for example, is the 4 that I want to look at mainly. There's dozens, and I put more on it, but these are the main ones to consider, I think, for now. This one on the left, Screencastify. Really easy to use. You'll notice some limitations, 10-minute limit, but it has some really cool writing and drawing features while you're working. Not a lot in terms of editing it after the fact, though. Just basic stuff. Loom, it offers a really nice space for recording it with some of those same annotation tools. Not as many as Screencastify. It has, again, basic editing, but one really good strength that it has is it already creates a shared space for your recording that's like a personal YouTube zone, except it's not in YouTube because it's private, so you can go ahead and make that as locked down as you want it to be. These, for Screencastify, are generally stored automatically inside of your Google Drive. Screencastify requires an add-on or extension, an extension inside of Chrome. Loom also can be an extension, but you can also download the software to your desktop. Screencast-O-Matic, which has been popular for a while, has an app for the desktop. It doesn't work wholly within your browser window. The limit is a little bit longer. The basics for recording aren't quite as nice, but it does offer some nice after-the-fact options like music and captions. And I will say Camtasia, great software, does screen recording, does amazing editing, but is a paid software, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. I'm going to show you one in a little bit called WeVideo that I think you might like better if you want to do some more advanced editing. So again, these are 3 that I'm going to focus on along with QuickTime that I'm going to show you here in just a second. So let's go ahead and go to that live demo, and I linked you to a page while I'm going through it. And for each of them, I'm just going to stick around with this Newsella article I have on my desktop. Let's go ahead and start with, and let me bring this over here. Oop, I don't need that over here. Let's start with Screencastify. Now I'm just clicking on, and let me zoom in this so it's easier to see. I'm just clicking on this extension button here, which is the Screencastify icon. I linked how to install extensions if that's not a thing you're familiar with. But once it's installed, it's really easy to access here. And it gives me options for recording, yes, in a web page, just this browser tab. Do I want to record my desktop? Do I want to include my webcam also while I'm doing it? All right, let's go ahead and record. And it's asking me, oops, which screen? All right, it's counting me down, 3, 2, 1. Now, while I'm recording, I can go ahead and move this piece around. And I don't know why it's doing that. People still trying to come in 30 minutes after the session started. Sorry, I'm going to have to stop that simply because those people popping in messed up my recording. Let me go back. All right. Let me go back to it again so I can show you all the built-in annotation features. And let's do that whole screen. Now you can see it. There we go. Counts me down. I get to see this gives me my preview on the side, but I can go ahead and resize this thing here because it's recording inside this window. What's nice for me inside of Screencastify is it offers a couple options like this. If you click on this little pen option, yes, I can write on the screen and mark up things, and I want kids to focus on that. But if you click this pointer area, it gives me something like this, which lets me focus my mouse so people know where it is. It also lets me, when I'm clicking, you see that little red circle that pops up so people know what I'm clicking on. And then it even indicates and hides my mouse when I'm not working. So that way it's not getting in the way in the screen. When I'm done, I can say whether I want my webcam on or not, even in the middle of it. Let's go ahead and stop this recording. And now it opens up in a new window that video I just put together. Great, I can watch it, I can publish it straight to Classroom, I can copy a link and put it somewhere, I can download it to my computer if I want. Although one of the things I like about these web-based ones is all the screen recordings I've been doing that were saved to my computer were taking up massive amounts of space on my computer. So anything that lives somewhere else until I'm ready for it is nice. I'm gonna open this up in the basic editor that they have. And you'll notice there's not a ton of features for this editor. It's basically for trimming and titles. That's about it. Well, as that loads, I'll mention, well, no, it's gone. QuickTime, as I was explaining, is Apple's built-in one, but here we go. So here's my editor. I can go ahead, I can trim off the ends of that if I want. I can, as I go, let's say I didn't want my whole window and I just wanted this area of the screen. I can do that after the fact and crop it. Done. And then it's totally resizing it for my video. I can go ahead and add some text, vocabulary. I only have slight ability to edit it, but I can move it to the top if I want. You know, you can edit all these colors in the background and stuff. Let's do that. Right. That's really hard to read. I wouldn't normally do it like that. But you have mild editing abilities, text, some basic trimming, and some cropping the window. And when you're done, you can go ahead and download or export that and save it to your Google Drive too. I don't really want this video, so I'm just going to head out of here and show you the next one. So that's Screencastify. I really like it because it has all those annotation filters built in. Annotation features and showing your mouse. The next one I'm going to do is called Loom. And yes, Loom can be accessed through a little add-on, but I'm actually going to use the desktop version for now. And I can select which area I want it to be. Let's just do the full screen for now. Do I want the screen and my camera? Do I want the screen only? One of the cool things it has is it puts your face in this nice little camera down here in a circle. Looks kind of nice. I'm going to start that recording. Counts me down. When I'm ready and I want to demo what's happening in my window, similarly, I can go ahead, head on in. It also shows your mouse with that little yellow piece as we go through. If I want, I can move my face throughout. I can resize it, make it a little bigger. I can make it fill up my whole screen. We don't want that. Let's make it tiny again. I have a little annotation piece. Now for this one, it should be noted in Loom, it does let me write and mark up certain areas of the screen, but it'll automatically disappear after a little bit. So these aren't permanent annotations. So if you wanted something to stay there and you're written, this is not the tool for you. All right. But if you just want to mark and indicate something, Loom is good for that. When I'm done, you go ahead and hit stop. And it'll go ahead and open up a window, which will probably take a little bit. So I'm not going to wait on it, where it opens up the editor, which is basically similar basic editing features as we saw in Screencastify. But I'm going to drag over a separate window where you can see a recording that's already been done. Oh, people still trying to draw. All right. And it lives in this space for you, which is a link that you can share and copy. It's saved on Zoom. You have unlimited recording space in Zoom. Students can automatically give it a thumbs up and like it and share. And you can go ahead and password protect this space too if you want. So that way only your students will go ahead and see these videos. Only your students will be able to leave comments and things. It still functions like you might like the way a YouTube would, but it's not nearly as public. And if you want to edit it after the fact, here's where that exists, your trim. This CTA is simply adding a built-in link on top of it. So if you've ever been in YouTube and you know that there are those sort of boxes that suddenly appear on your video where you can click on it and it might take you to some other video or some other person's page, that's what this is. It only allows for one, but it does let you go ahead and create that, link it to web page. So when that gets clicked on, it'll go ahead and share it out with people. Like I said, you decide whether you want it public, whether you want to add a password, but it does have this nice save space, which is one reason I like Loom for people who are looking for a space and maybe Flipgrid and things like that aren't an option to them. Then the third one I'm going to show you is Screen-O-Matic, which has been a lot of people's favorite for a while. But it does have some limitations. It has some nicer editing features after the fact. And let me get over into Screen-O-Matic. Here, excuse me, Screencast-O-Matic. Oh, I already had it open over here. I thought I did, but there it was. Here's where we get to it. Launch free recorder. Because it's a software you have to install on your computer, you can launch it from its site or just launch it there on your computer. And it's this little red and white looking button here. And once it launches, it's going to let you choose what area of your screen you want to crop and record. So whereas in the other ones you were cropping after the fact and had that option, this one you need to choose in advance what area of the screen you want to record. Okay? So, there it goes. Maybe it's going to be a little slow because I'm in the middle of a meet. Can test that. But what it allows me to do, oh, there it goes, is it lets me record a particular window, select it with the cropping, and here we go, like that. There's the area I've decided I want cropped. I can choose, do I want my screen or my webcam or both? I'm gonna have both. Now, if you wanna play the computer audio, like you're showing a video on BrainPop or something, and it's part of your presentation, that does require the pay version, all right? And I'm just going to go ahead and hit record. Again, I can just demo similarly on my computer. Hey, students, make sure you set the level to where yours is supposed to be, although in Newsela, it should automatically be set for the student. Hey, and make sure you check what your activities were on the side. I want you guys to work on your power words and go ahead and try and answer which word goes correctly with last week. I'll help you with this first one. It's recently. You guys can go ahead and do the rest yourself. When I'm done, I go ahead and hit pause on that recording. Hit done. I can either upload it directly here, or I can go to edit the video. And this one, as I said, gives me more editing options than the other two. Here we go. But some of the cool options it adds is it automatically has sort of built-in music that you might want to have in the background. Or you can import closed captioning for your students. I want to mention now, though, that Flipgrid does automatically caption your videos. So those will automatically be included and even be translatable if this is your main goal. But it does offer a little bit more in terms of those editing features for you. And when you're done, simply say where I want to put it as, how I want to upload it, and go about your day. Share it with your students. All right. The last one I'm going to show you here quickly is the built-in one in QuickTime on this. And it works similarly as Windows built-in recorder. Now, you'll notice that this doesn't have all the sort of feature sets as the other ones, because QuickTime is made to do a whole bunch of different things. Yes, it plays the videos on your computer. Yes, and similarly, Windows Movie Editor does the same thing. But it's nice because it's built into the system and you don't have to record anything else. And it gives you all the sort of options you would expect on a Mac or Windows system. So anything you recorded on Windows Screen Recorder, easily editable inside of Windows Movie Maker. Anything inside of QuickTime, easily editable inside of iMovie. Again, I'm not going to walk you guys through all of iMovie or anything like that. I mean, that's an in-person session that usually lasts a day or more in and of itself. But if you want to dig in, there's a whole bunch of information I linked in the agenda. So now that I've got QuickTime open, I don't see anything, but up here at the top, I can see a few different options. File, new movie recording. Now I can do a movie recording that actually records my iPad on my computer screen. So I could go there and simply choose my iPad as that, and I'm actually going to get mine at the moment to do that. And then I can also do audio and screen recording simultaneously. I'm going to go ahead and show you the movie recording first with my iPad. As I share my iPad screen up here. The only thing you have to do to make sure it's your iPad screen, instead of me looking at my face, is click this button next to the red record button and choose which device you want. Now, it's easier for your iPad to go ahead and plug it in, and you could simply choose it there and choose which audio to use for your iPad too. But when you're ready to record the screen recording simultaneously of your computer, and actually, do I even have the right adapter for my, you know what? I have to get another iPad. I'm going to go ahead and record the computer while I wait for that adapter and do a screen recording with QuickTime there. All right. I can choose this window. You'll notice these things at the bottom. Do I want to capture it or record it? Actually, I already was recording. Oops. I can change the size of it even throughout. It even gives me options. Do I want to be hearing my audio? Do I want to be not and just have the screen recording itself? When I'm done, hit stop, and that file automatically will get opened up for you. And if you don't do anything else, it'll be saved to your desktop. So that's QuickTime that's built in. QuickTime doesn't record. So yes, it will record the sound coming out of the iPad if you select that, if you share it onto your screen. But I am now going to show you what screen recording on an iPad would look like. All right. And here we are. We're inside this session. So here's what iOS screen recording, if you just want to record and everything you're doing is solely on the iPad. That QuickTime method, if you do movie recording and choose the name of your iPad, it'll let you do that. But if you want to record simply from your pad itself, just go to the control center and you customize those. I've got these instructions linked in the agenda too. And then you can go ahead and add this recording button there on your iPad. Once you hit that, it'll automatically go ahead and record everything on your screen. When you're done, You just open that back up. You know, on the new devices, it's from pulling from the top right. On older devices, it's pulling up from the bottom. And then you go ahead and hit stop. There isn't a built-in screen recording on Android, if that's what you're using, but most of you guys didn't say that you had that. It requires a different separate app. All right? But that's how you do it on an iOS device. I'm going to show you one last fun piece on editing, because once you got these videos, maybe it wasn't perfect on the get-go. Maybe you want to do a little bit more. I'm going to show you this place called WeVideo. Now, WeVideo is, again, a freemium site. But what's great about it is that even those super extra bonus features, which normally cost a little extra, are totally free right now. I've linked in the agenda how you can access those. You can go ahead and create sorts of Q&A vlogs for students. Let's go ahead and edit that one on my headphones so we can hear it. Actually, we don't need to hear it. And you can see it's a full-fledged editor where I have several tracks of video, green screen. I'm not going to walk you through all these awesome features that exist. There's tons of shortened videos on those. But I can add text at the top, links in between. Let's go ahead and head back and look at one other example. Hey, maybe I'm doing story recordings with students. Maybe we're reading Charlotte's Web. And I got this music going in the background while somebody's reading the book live. Right? I think you get it. Maybe we even have pause moments for stop and think. This doesn't require you to be live to have these kinds of experiences with your students. Also built in, voila, is screen recording. And again, this is normally a paid feature within WeVideo, but everything's free now. So I can hit that recording button or go into one of my other blank areas and let me record. Screen, webcam, both. All right, let's do it. And I get to choose which cameras, which microphones. Yeah, that works for me. Let's go ahead and do this screen. I'll pull this up again. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's explore our article again. Now, everybody, make sure as you're exploring the article, you're also doing your work on the side. And I want everybody to take that quiz. How well did you understand it? Now, you'll note my answers are showing, and I'd make sure I'd log in as a student if I was actually recording this video. But for now, I don't care that you guys have the correct answer. And when I'm done, I can just hit this stop at the bottom, save it into my video. As it loads it up. Hey, what do, oop, that's in the wrong place. So how do I want each of these sized? Do I want my picture? Actually, let's put my picture on top, tiny. I double click on it. It gives me all these editing options. So let's scale it down. Let's continue to scale it. Let's move it over here. Save those changes. I can go ahead and add all sorts of fun music and sound effects. I can add transitions. You guys get how that works. They also have built-in media here, text, fun backgrounds. Again, if I want to add some text on it, so drag that on top. Oop. Actually, let's add another video stream, graphic stream, and drag it in. There we go. When I want to edit that, double click. Oops. Over here. There it is. In with a whisper. Maybe that's not what I wanted to say. Welcome to Newsela. So maybe I'm simply demonstrating for students how they log into their Newsela accounts. There we go. When I'm done, I can just hit finish, export it, and share that out however I want. You see, I can share it straight to Google Drive, YouTube, anywhere else I want to go. Let's go ahead and just, actually, let's just store it here on WeVideo for now. There we go. And let that export and work its magic. And there's my video stored. I can make more. I can make lots more available for my students. And it doesn't matter even if I didn't record it in here. I can go ahead and upload videos and edit them all here. They have lots of fun templates at the top. One thing I do want to note about it, though, is that you have to, if you want all those extra features, to add that premium access, including that screen recording. And it is available free right now. I've got that linked in the agenda. But this is a nice space if you're not on a Windows computer, which, you know, Windows Movie Maker is nice. If you're not on a Mac and you're not familiar with iMovie and you just want to work heavily here in the web, WeVideo is really good for that. Offers a lot of free options. Cool. So I just want to pose one last question to each of you. Which of these do you think you guys are going to find the most use out of? Which one would you like to see a lot of short how-to guides on first for me to give a more thorough walkthrough? And we'll make those available. And as you answer that question, I'm going to pull up a different site to show you an example of some of the ones we've been putting together. Oh yeah, and feel free to indicate one, the first one you want to do, 2 is the second one you want to do, 3 is the third. As you're doing that, I'm opening up this, which is the District 75 Vimeo page. And there's lots of videos here. A lot of it is on instructing in the classroom, but we've started to create a couple of spaces, which are also linked from the D75 STEM page. They're showcases. And there's tons more that are going to be up here. There's only 2 in Tech Bytes right now, but I guarantee you there's probably going to be 8 by the end of the day today and tomorrow, because I've shared a whole bunch that are being uploaded there. District 75 Homeschool Theater. So walking parents through reinforcement with their students with autism. Hey, doing some identification with manipulatives at home. These are all short, you know, 2 to 5 minute videos. Some of them are 7 or 8. Oops, why is that one loading so slowly? A lot of the tech ones, again, 2 or 3 minutes long, just to walk you through a basic feature, how to download and install this software, how to sync your Google Classroom with BrainPop, something like that. All right, and as you guys said that to me, I want to pull this up. So Flipgrid, yeah, I expected that to be popular because it has so many things built into one. These, stuff you might already be using, Meet, great. Explain Everything is actually really, really nice. It has a lot of visualizations in there. If what you want to do is show and write for your students the way you would on an interactive display, it's a great place for it remotely. All right. Thank you for your input. I do want to link you to this. Here you'll note at the bottom, again, is that agenda link. I'm going to paste that again in the chat. And in just a moment, now as I see if there's tons of questions in the chat I might have missed. Thank you. Oh, Google Hangout and Flipgrid. Let me go up here and paste all of this, which is the agenda and other materials. So you guys have that again. And if anybody has any live questions they want to ask me, feel free to unmute your microphone and let me know what you want to. Or if not, have an amazing day. And I hope this was worthwhile and beneficial for you and you can dig into some asynchronous stuff for your students. All right? All right. I hope this was helpful and everybody have an awesome day, all right? Take care.